team, period. Let's find out where we're going to play. We'll go through the map veto phase to determine that. And this is going to, of course, play a pretty big role on the outcome of the match. It'll be Villa. We get to see these teams play on.
Isn't Villa is the first play day that TSM played on, and
against Rec.
It's their
best result.
It's their also supposedly TSM's best map is Villa.
Yep, some people say that.
So, Merc, by the way, for the record, Merc had just typed that once the game gets underway, he's disabling chat. I know that we're all upset by that. So if we could get a good night to Merc typing in chat, because he said that he's going to disable chat.
You got to get it in there, get a good night in there, chat, before Merc, before he starts the match, because he's going to turn it off.
God, this sweater is baggy. The downside we were talking about.
He's lost a lot of weight.
All of my clothing just does not fit at all. Like, look at this. Like, look at
it's really noticeable.
I look like
he had a kind of a muffin top, and it's gone.
I look like. Thank you. Thanks.
87% for TSM.
Can't eat muffins either anymore. 87%, 10% for Luminosity. Man, that is a lopsided result with only 3% of you thinking that it's going to be a draw. Well, 87% is pretty realistic given the way that TSM has played.
Yeah.
I look like Grimace from McDonald's.
I mean, it's kind of the same
Even
color.
Like with the aerodynamic.
It's less of the same color in person, but on camera it looks kind of like that.
Yeah, it's much darker on camera.
It's more...
I look gelatinous.
Maroon. Kind of mixed with purple.
All right, we'll get things underway. Supposedly TSM's best map. Luminosity is going to have some rough waters ahead of them if that is really the case.
I'm gonna really quick just look at the stats on the maps for TSM because I want to see if it is their best map. Let me just go over that. We'll start with the bans. Luminosity starting on defense means they get to ban first. We'll see who the response is from TSM as Capitao is dealt with. Capitao being one of those operators that a lot of teams are just like, no, we don't want to play it anymore. And that's all well and good. Thatcher! Oh, it's going to be one of these. All right. We've seen no hard destruction villas played out, though, before. We saw that actually the last Latin American played. It was really interesting. FaZe managed to put up a really good showing. Well, no, wait. No, it was Liquid, not FaZe. Yeah, it was Liquid, and Nesk had just a banger of a match. Uh-oh, Slash! No, Slash! Well, he's dropping it for his own team, so I don't really know if that counts.
Don't get the good nights in there. Come on, what are you doing?
Well, he said it to Hyena, so... Because he and Hyena got counterbanned. That's what happened, I think.
Oh.
Yeah. So, ban FaZe done. An interesting one for sure. Echo, Valkyrie's still in play. All hard destructors in play. This should be a pretty bog standard Villa, I'd say. Just no Thatcher, and that's the biggest thing, I'd say, overall. Aviator, first bomb site.
By banning Thatcher, you also have to ban the Maestro. I got it. I understand what you're saying.
Yep.
I understand what you're saying. You got to ban them. Why? Because how else are you going to take care of those evil eye cams? Well, no, you're not going to need to.
Yeah, well, I mean, you can use overuse because there's ways, but it's just a pain. If Thatcher's the easiest way, it's clear cut.
TSM likes to play very aggro here on this map, so I imagine that we're going to see some aggressive plays.
Probably.
Especially with Thatcher being banned. Could be, like you said, it's going to be one of those. So. Look at that! It's an Aviator Games first defense from Luminosity Gaming. No Thatcher means that if you're TSM, you're going to take from another angle. Can't just take those walls. I mean, there's no thermite being brought, so all of what AWD is doing will prevent the exothermic charge from going off. Now, you might be wondering, why is he shooting out the floor? He's shooting out the floor because what you can do, and a lot of people actually don't know this, is you can put an exothermic charge down on the floor, and because it too has a sphere around it, it can blow up the wall next to it.
Yeah, so you can circumvent the Kaids, the bandit batteries, the jammers, what have you. So they're going to not allow that by opening up the floor preemptively. So smart on Luminosity. By the way, I'm just looking at it now. In kind of recent history, TSM's best map is actually probably its Cafe. They've played it in the period of between May and now. May of last year, of course. They played it 9 times and won it 8 times, and lost it one time. So, yeah, Cafe is probably TSM's best map. Villa is up there, though, as being one of their better maps, but as they've only lost it 1 of the 6 times they've played it. But it's not TSM's best. It's just, you know, it's one of their really good ones. And to be fair, looking at this record, TSM has a lot of really good maps, man.
Yeah. TSM with Geo on this roster seems to have done away with the difficulties that they had online. They were always a team that in best of ones online, they struggled. They struggled really hard. There goes one of the Yokais. They baited out. And Hyena loses a very valuable piece of Echo's identity, so you will have no Invisidrone with a shooty boom boom ability, as you will call it. I believe that's how it's written in the patch notes.
Thud, thud, slow, slow?
Mm-hmm. Yep, something like that. Hyena's down from a frag grenade, gets tossed out. Rexon's going to come to his rescue as Achieved rushes on in. Is he going to be able to get anything from this? Well, they hear the rappel, so immediately Rexon falls off. Drone gets shot right away, so Achieved knows as Hyena's going to continue to crawl on over.
I love the patience here from Achieved. He could have secured the kill, but he knows he doesn't even need to. The damage done is enough.
Hyena's going to get picked back up from the mute of Factor, who comes to the rescue, and the Echo can get back on those Yokai drones. Slash finds Pojo Man, your only hard breacher on TSM. Say goodbye. C4 gets tossed on over the wall that was opened up earlier by Slash, so you know that it was obviously premeditated and a very common throw as well, aimed towards Study.
Smoke's coming down on the long haul to try and slow down Bolo's advance. The rest of his team. Wall has been opened up, but only slightly towards the bar, and that's some pressure applied onto the anchors, but Luminosity are still full 5-man. Hyena, having taken some damage, is of course going to cost him in the future engagements, but right now Luminosity hasn't lost any serious ground to TSM, and that's really notable, especially given that the last Hard Destructor, as you said, or the only Hard Destructor, has been eliminated.
Missed shot there from Merc on the Hyena, who could have been secured earlier on, so that might end up being a mistake from TSM.
Yep.
As I don't think Rexon has moved from his spot over by Master. Slash finds one on Bolo, and it looks like the Smoke is next in line for fighting. Yes, indeed, Factor swings out. It's the mute, though, as Doodle's inside a bar, tempting Achieve to push on in. He's a very accurate shot, but he's got every single member of Luminosity to find, and despite the fact that both Doodle and Hyena are low, Rexon swings on out. This could be all she wrote. 2 different members of Luminosity swing roughly at the same time. A flawless round to start things off. That's the kind of tempo that you want to establish against a team that tends to do very well on Villa. Luminosity's up 1-0.
Turns out that Chief should have capitalized on that down and finished off the Echo. Thing is, though, and this is really important to note, it's likely he didn't know that he had downed the Echo, because I believe it was with a nade. And if he wasn't aware, then it's all well and good that he decided to patiently drone before going for the play. Chief's job was to hold on to 90 and pressure the gun vault with nades, as well as deny any denial that could have prevented Habana from opening up the wall. Habana died, though, so that was kind of redundant at that point, and he didn't decide to rotate to do something else because 90 was still relevant in the take, given that the take was into long and to pinch onto the bar. TSM had a set-up strategy that could have worked out. That was mostly around angle play and winning their gunfights. They isolated the bar, so success. They even got to down somebody earlier in the round, but they didn't know about it. So partial success, continuing. But no hard control on the bar, no push into the site. And the angle play didn't work out for TSM. LG were winning all of their gunfights. So no matter how you really look at that, TSM came really darn close, despite it being a flawless round. But they could never really push past losing gunfight after gunfight. And that was, in my mind, that's the main issue. We had a lot of situations there, honestly, where the gunfights favored TSM and they still lost them.
5 seconds to insertion.
How much do you think that Thatcher ban is affecting them?
Oh, yeah, that's a good point. A lot.
I mean, they banned the Thatcher themselves, and then they weren't able to get in. They got the one portion of the games wall open up, and that was about it. And then Pojo was gone. And it was the C4 over top of the wall in the study, which usually you can hear and see coming a mile away, so...
Yeah, it looks like it might have been affecting them a lot, but the thing is that the strategy that TSM put up wasn't bad, and it obviously was set up to account for a lack of Thatcher since they banned him. It was just tenuous, is the word I would use. It was not quite meaty enough, not potent enough. We'll see what TSM puts up here, as it's actually a trophy defense now. So different bomb site, but there is an extended roam in Aviator and Games. And Luminosity is trying their best to slow things down.
Despite it being a trophy statuary defense, it's not unsurprising to see Luminosity guarding down the old site that we just saw, which is Aviator Games. One of those Goyo shields goes off, so you now are aware of the fact that there is indeed a Goyo on the board. There goes the mute jammer as a nade gets tossed over by Achieved, and you should have the portion of that wall opened up by Hibana while Merc pushes from the other side. So you might get a little cramped and bound if you're Luminosity. Hard to tell through the outlines there if Merc knows if somebody's inside of the vaults, but no, now all of Aviator and Games are entirely clear along with Study, and Merc just goes on in. I don't even think it got droned. He just realizing that he has the reflexes to be able to take a fight.
No, I think there was a drone right ahead of him in the hallway. I'm not 100% sure that the connecting the plat, what do we call that? Right outside of Aviator to connecting the hallway. There's a name for it. I can't remember.
You're the one with the calls.
Hey, I don't remember that call out. It's like right next to the door.
It's fine.
Anyway,
I know what you're saying.
I'm not sure if that was droned out, but I do know that the top of the hallway was at Red Stairs, because that had, I saw one there. Now TSM has good control, and they are starting to maneuver towards Master. And from that position, they can apply a lot of pressure to the A-bomb site, that statuary, through the hallway and from opening up the Master wall. But that's the difficult bit, opening the Master wall. There is a Kaid in play and a Mute in play, and again, Thatcher is banned. So it's going to come down to Geo's drones and this position right here from Merc.
Oh!
What?
Type it. Does he have chat off?
He has chat off.
You must have chat off. That would have been it.
That would have been a good night.
That was a... You know Hyena's feeling that one. Multiple bodies falling as Rexon from the back. He's there. Achieved gets one. This is just a punishing affair between both of these teams, and Rexon still's not been spotted as he heads over to the Astro stairs. Achieved picked back up as you see Merc attempt the plant. All the way from across his slash. He's got a Nitro cell. Is he going to be able to do anything with it? Rexon picks up his third kill. Will not get a fourth as he's removed from action by Pojo Man. Diffuser goes down as well, so Slash in a 1v2 with objective play ahead of him. This is going to be a challenge. He's going to make a ton of noise. He's a 3 armor. Shoots the Volcanic Shield just for a little bit of coverage. There's a ping inside of Master. Just be careful to avoid those flames. No silhouettes nearby. Unable to move yet because those flames linger. It's in a corner where, well, he might be able to get it if nobody's watching, but there you have it. It's Merc who planted the diffuser, and he's just going to sit over top of it, a little bit removed. He gets the very final kill. TSM answers back. 1-1.
What a round from Merc. I believe that was at least a 3K, possibly more. And
here
chat,
we go.
Can we get a good night in chat for Merc? He has his chat turned off, so he can't type it himself. Can we get a good night, please? I think it's deserved. Now, what a beautiful round from TSM. A big thing there was really just how cleanly TSM managed to clear out the roam over by Games and Aviator. Nobody lost, a little bit of utility used, but only the bare minimum. And they get control of the platform they want to use to attack onto the bomb site. That's the connector in your statuary. Following that, I mean, Luminosity really, they didn't have enough potency this round to win their gunfights. It started off really good for TSM. I will say that that kill that Merc got, for example, onto the Echo, it really was a freebie, to be fair. Nobody holding statuary door. Echo standing in the open in statuary, completely exposed. Poor awareness there for Hyena. And then following that, we also had Master Control go pretty easily in TSM's hands. So pretty much the entire periphery of the site was taken by TSM. Luminosity boxed in, and then the execution was really simple. It was just a matter of winning fights. That's exactly what TSM did. They even got the plant. Good objective play from TSM as well.
I can't get over that shot. That shot was
beautiful. I mean, that's what you get. That's what you get when you give a pro player like dead accurate information on the enemy's location.
I think he spotted the Echo on cam, though, wasn't it? It looked for a second there that when you go on cam, and people actually forget this, when you go on cam, when you pull up your phone as a defender, you can be spotted by IQ. A lot of people aren't either aware of that or they often forget that.
Yeah, and I think that, I could be wrong about this, I think that Echo holds it closer to his head.
Yeah,
because he's used the wrist,
Yeah.
and he puts it up closer, whereas everybody else holds it out out with both of their arms, and it's a little bit further away. So that might be why we saw the headshot come in so cleanly there from Merc, because he had such dead accurate information thanks to his gadget.
Even though it's a trophy statuary take from TSM, they're going to enter very differently than they did before. This is a bottom floor clear, a very aggressive bottom floor clear, with both Merc as well as Achieved taking up space down below. Now, bear in mind that an IQ from down below will be able to spot all those gadgets through the floor still, so it's not imperative that IQ be on the same floor as the OBJ. Buck being down below also allows him to open up all of the floor and do significant damage. Slash has been down, meanwhile, inside of Trophy, so they'll have to get him up at some point.
A bomb has been located.
Well, this is good information being gathered from TSM. Achieved is looking for his prey, but he's actually going to get caught by Factor, who puts together 2 with the shotgun. Beautiful play there from Factor, coming up right behind his teammate. Pojo Man will get Slash in the sight, so at least there is some bounce back from TSM. But it's going to be hard for them to recover from Factor's play just now, especially with the C4 coming out. It will miss, though, so that's a little bit of lost utility from Luminosity.
We saw Factor drop as he broke open that hatch just a couple seconds before that, and it's a position that clearly had not been droned out by TSM. You mentioned 5 seconds and that information is outdated. They did the same thing with Rexon last time around. Nobody knew where Rexon was. He came off on a great flank. That's a rare miss from both Bolo and Pojo as the diffuser gets surrendered and Geo on just a fraction of HP in a 1v3. This is going to be a real tough time for him. Still at the doorway, but there's too many angles that he's going to need to watch, and LG's guns will answer back. Rexon with the final kill, and LG will go back up 2-1.
We'll probably go back to Aviator after that. We'll see if LG has a different sight up their sleeve. Gotta imagine they do if they're going to be bringing us to this map. But I would imagine this will be Aviator defense next, and there you go. Okay, so first time working out on Aviator for Luminosity. Second time working out for Luminosity on Trophy. So mixed bag going on right now, but they've only stuck to the main site so far. It's looking like Parker, I think we're going to have another one of those back and forth matches.
We got a long night ahead of us, Michael.
Yeah, I mean, we've had a couple days of this, though.
Go get your weighted blankets, your popcorn, your beverage of choice.
Goose down blanket?
If you'd like a goose down blanket. I mean, weighted blankets are the play right now.
I have not ever used a weighted blanket.
For those lonely boys and girls at home, it feels like a hug. It's a hug and a blanket.
Is it really?
I don't know. I've actually never used one, but I've heard great things.
I should try one, but I'm waiting on something. Now
you're waiting. I should try one, but I'm waiting on something. That sounds so ominous. I can't. You should get a weighted blanket. Not yet. What do you mean, not yet? Not yet. All will be revealed in due time.
5 seconds left.
What are you waiting on?
Don't worry about it.
What do you mean you can't?
Don't worry about it, Parker.
Time is not right for a weighted blanket.
Don't worry about it. It's not a problem.
I just can't get over that. I'm waiting.
TSM, they're going to clear out from Master. I should put some analysis into that last round because we didn't really get much. TSM adjusted their attack strategy a little bit. They came in through Master. It was less successful. The big thing, though, was mostly just Factor downstairs. That double shotgun pump really defanged the pincer attack on the Astro.
I don't think Rexon rotating up was deliberately done to draw out the members of TSM.
No, it wasn't.
Factor, though. I know, like, when the buck
got
was
lucky.
down below, they knew that there was somebody playing on that first floor, so Factor dropped to cut off anybody who would dare push up Astro's stairs. Fine, you just need to hold that angle. He got 2, and I think he was only anticipating 1. Merc was just bonus. Rexon, though. Rexon was the story of round number 1. He was part of the story of round number 2. He was somewhat of the story of round number 3, and now he's going to be a pivotal part of round number 4 as he trades 75 HP for a kill onto the Ash of Geo. Very worthwhile. TSM cannot afford to continue to fall behind on these rounds. They are going to need every bit of energy to go up against Luminosity here on what is statistically actually TSM's second best map.
Bomb located by attackers.
As we noted with Cafe probably being the best. They've a lot of times. They play Cafe a lot.
Cafe is their best map.
And they've lost it once. It's crazy. Now, in recent history, of course. That, again, it's just being in like the last few months. Now, TSM setting up to, once again, clear out the opposite end of the building from the bomb site. This has been their most successful way of attacking these sites so far. This is their only second time actually getting to try onto this bomb site. But every time they try the hard contact strategy, whether it be Study onto Aviator or Master onto Trophy, every time TSM tries that, they lose it. Whereas every time they try clearing out the other end of the top floor and then hitting the site, TSM wins. So, given that record, TSM should win this round. We'll go to 2-2. All has been foretold. Let's see what happens, though. I mean, it's not a guaranteed thing.
Was that a Yokai that they just got at 90 as well? Yeah, that's a big pick for TSM. The Yokais alone, a lot of people consider them to almost like active teammates. There goes another as it's called out from the IQ of Merc, but both Bolo and Merc will now inhale some of that toxic canister that's dropped on their feet by Doodle. Rexon picks up his second kill. The ability that he's had to just take over these rounds so far, flying under the radar of TSM, is commendable. You also got Factor playing off-site with just under 30 seconds to go. So Luminosity are very primed and ready to be able to take a third round here. Rexon returns fire through the doorway as you hear one of the concussive blasts go off, and we are very close to a perfect round. As I say that, Merc gets a kill to trade off Hyena as Bolo drops a second from Hyena. You've still got Rexon holding the door, and Merc will almost certainly be unable to get in as long as Hyena's there. And it'll be double duty. Both members of LG could have gotten that kill, but it's Hyena with a little bit of a celebratory up and down. A third for LG as they look very good on defense here on Villa.
Yeah, testing his control key, making sure it works. Got to be extra certain. 3 rounds now for Luminosity, and that's the first time we've seen 2 in a row. So TSM's prospects for this first half dwindling. It'll be kitchen defense for the next. And that is somewhat of a record broken, as TSM have now lost when they cleared out the opposite end of the top 4. So I was wrong. I was dead wrong. Very, very wrong, too. That was a really one-sided affair there. It seemed like TSM just wanted to push their way in through the B-bomb site doorway. And then I'm not sure what they wanted to accomplish after that. But they didn't have a lot of control either by 90. Well, actually, no, that's not true. They had 90. They just didn't use it for much of anything. They could not extend that control over to Study, which would have been a great benefit to TSM, given that they were contending Rexon, who was playing in that position, and slowing down the take into B. And there's a lot of things going on there, but really just TSM had a pretty linear attack, and that was the main problem. Luminosity jumped on that linear attack, held the angles that were necessary, and won gunfights, period. We might see a full cycle as Kitchen's the next site defended.
We'll go back to Trophy after this one as it will unlock. No library living room nonsense like we witnessed yesterday in Latin America. Those teams were very, very likely to go to library and living room. I was surprised by that, though. So, well.
I mean, we don't see library living room very often, but when we do, it's always very interesting, that's for sure. Now, kitchen defense is also hard to pull off, to be honest. See what TSM's going to do. It looks like it'll be just a top clear. And you'll have Buck to open up from above, possibly breaches on a few of these TSM members to apply even more vertical pressure. You could do a lot once you have upstairs control. You can see that there are some roamers trying to deny upstairs control by roaming. In Trophy, specifically. I think that might be the Goyo. I'm not really sure. There goes one of the volcanoes. It's just more scanning from the Inox here from Geo. You'll find the dock. Oh, that volcano actually working pretty well as it gets 50 HP on Merc. C4 does miss from below, though, so in terms of utility, that's actually a loss for LG.
Merc deliberately ran through it, though, and I think it's because he got to the one part of the bathroom that wasn't going to be affected by a C4. Rexon missing most of his shots there. There goes the C4 tossed up, but it gets shot out of the air from Merc. Excellent aim from him. He's at 51 HP, sitting inside a bathroom. And yeah, he was in the shower, which is immune to a C4.
So the setup was actually pre-planned from Luminosity. You destroy the volcano, that makes the attacker stand still, the C4 kills them. So really, really cool plan there from Luminosity. TSM reads that, though, Merc specifically, and he gets 2 C4s before dying to Doodle from below. So the UMP in the end does the job that the C4s couldn't, but that's still a lot of utility used by LG for nothing. What a retake, though, by the main stairs for LG.
I was going to say, they're heading back up top. This is a boarding party from Luminosity. All right, Rexon must have gotten a call to go elsewhere. He's been excellent on Roam. Goyo's not exactly the operator that you're always going to have on Roam. Hyena gets spotted, taken down from Achieved. So teams at even now with Geo losing quite a lot of HP as Slash has lost some too, but still an advantage for Luminosity with a minute left. They've got that second floor control, and Factor on the Jaeger this time, not Rexon. He's been able to go undetected upstairs.
Oh, good angle on the bullet holes from Bolo, and Slash goes down, trying to leverage his advantage. Oh, sees another in the red hallway, and Bolo pre-firing, expecting the peek, but loses it when it actually comes out. Rexin, a really big headshot onto Bolo. TSM and LG cannot shake each other as we continue with this even man count. 30 seconds left, and it's a 3-on-3. A drop from Achieved into Laundry, trying to pressure into the site, which has been partially untouched through this round, actually. Speaking of, there's no defenders here. It's all roamers, actually one anchor, rather, in the corner, and he goes down. It's Doodle felled by Achieved after Factor killed one of the players upstairs. Speaking of Factor, he's now dropped into the site. He's looking for more targets, but missing the shots when he finds them. Many shots missed here from Factor. In fact, all 30, really. Pojo Man going for the plant, and there's going to need to be cover from Achieved. Meanwhile, Rexin, the last defender, stops the plant in the nick of time. What a play from Rexin. Right when it was necessary, he gets the kill. And LG win yet another defensive round.
Rexin had the pre-fire as well for the buck of Achieved that was waiting around the corner, so you know that if you had a pressured, it was very likely that Rexin was still going to take that one too. Beautifully played by LG. They were so focused and so lined up, trying to find Factor, TSM was, that LG were able to get Rexin to once again sneak up on TSM. I don't know if it's just simply the fact that LG are able to continuously maneuver without drones spotting them, maybe late flanks that are not being watched very well by TSM, or TSM's drone work being very inadequate. But regardless, Rexin, time and time again, Factor, twice now, both of these members, they've just been able to maneuver in such a way that TSM are never expecting them to be where they are. And that is massive credit to Luminosity, because TSM has played such a strong set of play days now, where they always seem to have a chokehold. There's always constant pressure from TSM. And maybe it's just that teams don't want to engage fights, because you don't want to take a fight against Merc all the time. You don't want to take a fight against Bolo all the time. You don't want to take a fight against Geo, or Achieved, or Pojo Man all the time, sure. Luminosity are playing as bold and ambitious a game as TSM usually does, and right now it is working in spades for Luminosity, ignoring the fact that it is just a standard Villa defense as well, and that Villa defense tends to do pretty good, pretty good stuff. So,
yeah, and we even if it's defense on Villa, you gotta say TSM are one of those teams that tend to do well on this map, regardless of the side. And it's got to be frustrating for them that they haven't managed to get a lot of these rounds. I'll say that these rounds have been pretty close overall. I'm not going to just count out TSM, but yeah, definitely Luminosity are earning these wins. Good positioning, good teamwork. Honestly, there's been some interesting setups too from LG. Like that C4 Volcano combination going on in the bathroom. I mean, it could just be happenstance that they were doing that. But if it's happenstance, then they've been having a lot of those moments where, oh yeah, we just happen to have the right setup to achieve something along those lines. Nade goes in to clear out the mute jammer. Habana to open up the wall. Once again, ladies and gentlemen, this is a trophy hold, but an aviator clear because it's necessary since Luminosity is forcing it. A lot of utility used. Well, not a lot, actually, just the bare minimum. And same as last time, really. The bare minimum of required utility used to clear out these roamers. But still, it's more than most teams on defense would force out of the attackers in this scenario, far from the site. Yokai drone will stun Merc, forcing him back. And that Yokai drone might actually be able to get away, as the IQ is somewhere else, top of main stairs. You
can see Geo's getting the call to action, though, so he'll hit on over in that way as he drones himself in.
He threw that drone and just went to pick it up again. That's weird.
Maybe just needed to get closer to him so he can use for a later part of the round. Who knows?
I think it's that he was going to set up a flank drone and there's already a flank drone set up and somebody called that. That's my guess.
You know, it could be.
Yeah. Now, TSM also has to rotate over to Master some of their players so that they can start applying pressure to Master. That way they have a crossfire when they want to go into Statuary. This is the same attack that we saw TSM pull off last time. This time, they're not going to get the early pick onto Hyena, the Echo.
It's going to be a south take, ignoring Astro, at least for now. As you can see, 3 members of Luminosity nestled over in the blue part of the map. TSM will need to head in through the doorways, as you can hear that the only hard destruction that's going to be done from TSM is Pojo Man. But it seems like it gets bandit tricked. No, maybe some of it opened up. A tiny portion of the wall, and that might be all that they need in order to cut off a cross from Luminosity. As Doodle sustains some significant damage, so too does Merc, and down goes the rest of Doodle. But that opening pick is going to come with 10 seconds left on the board, and it's going to be an all-out brawl with TSM winning time and time again. Slash is downstairs.
Oh!
He just needs a call! No way he's going to get this with 0 on the clock! Slash in a 1v5, and he wins it! My goodness, Spencer Oliver. That's a 5-1 as we switch halves. LG, unbelievable.
What? Let's watch that again. Ladies and gentlemen, 4 seconds left. If you are planting, it will stop the timer. But if the plant is stopped, then the defense, when it gets to that 0-0, win the round. Plant was stopped by Spencer, by Slash, and LG. That's the second round in a row that they've done that. And now a 5-1 against TSM.
Cool guys don't look at explosions.
And
Just to see how
there you go.
It's just another day at the office. Spencer Oliver downstairs, just checking his watch. 2 seconds, 3,
Attackers
okay.
need to locate
C4.
and defuse bombs.
Boom goes the dynamite. My round. Ba-da-da-da-da. It's the, Double G, Snoop Dogg. That's it. That's how I imagine it going. Luminosity playing out of a gaming house. Fist bumps all around. You take the first half, 5-1. That is an incredible scoreline. Commonplace for Villa of old, where the defenders would just simply clobber the attackers. However, you are going up against a team that has one of the best records on Villa in all of their region. We don't have the stats for the other regions, but I would imagine that with knowing the stats that we have on TSM for Villa, probably some of the best stats on Villa, period. And TSM now find themselves with a huge mountain to climb. They have the advantage of the better structured side. And will go a long way, but if Luminosity can pick up this round, that might be enough for them.
See what Gio's doing there, just a little neat pro tip. Gio was shooting the planes in Aviator, and the reason that you do that is so that you can much more easily throw gas canisters and C4s to deny plants when they come into Aviator. So yeah, when you play Aviator games, shoot the planes, clear the airspace, as it were, and make it easier for you to deny the attackers planting. What an aggressive play from Doodle, and Achieved is on the floor. There goes one of your C4s that could have denied a plant from below, much like we saw in that first half many times. Doodle trying to contest the player at red stairs as well. That's going to be Merc, who's running upstairs, trying to get away from these very aggressive attackers. There will be a down onto Doodle and a finish off by Gio through the pre-made holes from the defense. So an even exchange, but this match just will not slow down after we transition to the second half. Lion being brought from Hyena, that's quite interesting.
Well, I mean, we said that with the way that a Thatcher ban works out, that there will probably just be a lot of fighting without involving a direct hard breach. Both teams have been fancying the Hibana so far, so some smaller entries into sight, but at least you can kind of pick holes in the defense.
Yeah.
You could. Maverick isn't banned as well, so you could very easily run a Maverick here if you really wanted, but it's just not something that they were considering. Oh, get baited out factor. Pojo's there. They managed to shoot down what appeared to be a yokai drone, but that's about it. And that information is crucial for the Smoke to be able to capitalize on that. Merc roaming, he takes down Rexon, and now LG finds themselves trailing.
So the defense definitely the favored side right now when we have a frag-heavy match like this one, or so it seems. Again, we saw a match much like this with Liquid in the last Latin American Playday on the same map in the same style with all these hard destructors being taken out. And it was quite interesting because nobody really played hard destruction, or they did in a limited fashion. But it definitely didn't play the biggest role in the match. And it's made for some really different Siege, I gotta say. Luminosity trying to recover this. Nice pre-fire from Hyena. He had to predict the angle and line up the pre-fire with that LMG. Luckily, he had a lot of bullets to do it. So that's going to bring it closer to a possible win here for Luminosity. 2v3 is not impossible, especially with all the HP, but there goes half of it. Slash now, the last player for attack, and he'll see one of his enemies on pool table, but miss the shots. A little bit of damage done to Gio, but not enough. Take some from the Zap Zap there on the wall. He needs to pick off at least one of these players to make it a two-way crossfire instead of a three. That's the best hope he has, but with 18 seconds left, it's just not going to happen. He'll have to switch to the secondary, challenging the player over there. It's Merc. There goes your Jaeger, and Bolo will clean up shot TSM. Take their second round. Very late.
Very, very late. Very slow from LG, but when it's a 2v4 and you've got a Hibana who doesn't have an ability to open up most of those walls and just a Lion, well, you're not going to be able to do too much with it. TSM managed to bounce back. That's only their second round, though, that they've taken so far.
Yeah, and like I said, late, that was 4 in a row for Luminosity, and this is TSM just now breaking that record, which is really not ideal if you're TSM. Again, it's possible TSM can win this, but they are in such a bad spot right now. And given the way that these engagements are coming out, Luminosity, in my mind, I could see why they're slightly favored in the scoreline right now, or slightly favored in the scoreline, heavily favored in the scoreline. Luminosity are good at taking fights on bottlenecks and winning them. I mean, obviously it's going to be angled towards the defense, but Luminosity excel at that particular thing. And they're making the utility work outside of the hard destruction. The way they're playing their Volcano Shields, their C4s. TSM, they need to show us that same kind of competence when it comes to that type of utility, but also when it comes to just holding onto the bottlenecks in order to win this. And so far, in that first round, they did a pretty good job. I wouldn't say it was as dominant as some of the Luminosity rounds per se, but it was a good win. Then that's all that matters. Getting that point is really all that matters in the end.
I mean, it was, what, 87% in favor of TSM?
Oh, that's a good point. It was
87 to, like, yeah, 87 to 10%. Only 10% of you.
And then 3 thought it would be a draw.
Attackers recovered the
3 whole people.
I mean, right now, that 13% is looking like they're at least somewhat in the right, whether it be a draw or a victory for Luminosity.
13, no, it's 10%, right? 10% for, oh, you mean like overall against TSM?
Draw. Yeah, I would say that
you're adding it together.
A draw is more likely than a TSM victory. TSM will need to win every single round.
Yeah.
They cannot drop a single one, obviously. And that is, when you think about it, 6 rounds in a row on Villa on defense is not unheard of. We've seen teams do that before, but it's very uncommon. Especially against a team like LG and how LG has been playing recently.
So again, MIBR versus Liquid last late year Latin American Play Day was actually very similar to this, but MIBR only got 2 rounds. I mean, if you look at this, MIBR got 2 defenses, Liquid got 4 attacks and then locked it out on defense. So this is a very different match, what we're seeing right now. These teams are much closer than the MIBR Liquid match.
Oh
Aggressive play there is going to get punished, but at least Achieved got 1 before he was eliminated by Rexon.
Very well played. I mean, you got the buck for the mute. If I'm Achieved, I'm very happy with that one.
Yeah, I mean, you gotta be, right? And oh my, is that another player trying to double down on the closet? TSM, so aggressive. They really don't want to give up on this closet control. They want to delay as long as possible. And this time it's the smoke of Pojo Man. Lion EE1D will go out. Pojo Man has to stand still. And the nade will catch Pojo instead of the other way around. TSM now 1 man down. And, well, they've taken some HP off of Luminosity, but as Rexon eliminates Geo, this looks like match point right now.
Yeah. That's a rough spot to find yourself in if you're TSM, and your hold is going to be very tenuous, with both members of TSM assembled over by Astro, one of which is going to be in the back of Trophy. That looked to be Bolo with his back against the wall. The hard destruction will open up a peak hole, just a crouch level onto the double-paneled wall, or the triple-paneled wall, rather. It's only double reinforced, with one shot open looking towards the bomb chassis. LG will very quickly discover that if they want 1/2 of the A bomb site, it is theirs for the taking. There's no nitro cell that can be in the hands of either Bolo or Merc. It's just going to be pure aim. And mind you, those are probably 2 of the best aimers on TSM, so if you want any operators with good guns left, they're going to be the people to do it. Merc just missing his shots. He manages to down Rexon, but there goes the EOD, which will freeze them in place. And this should be a pickup for Luminosity. Both Bolo and Merc in the same angle. They can bat together, but if you fight for a trade, as Luminosity will likely structure this push, well, they're going to be in good shape. Merc is ready to jump up and clobber anybody who goes through the main door into A bomb site, with Bolo watching Astro, but the UMP is not exactly the gun you want in this particular circumstance. Slash attempting the defuse, he's halfway there. Up pops Bolo, down he goes. Merc takes out the Jackal, diffuser planted from LG in a 1v3, but Merc lighting him up, can't find all of his targets. Match point for Luminosity, the win out of reach for TSM. And that's not the way we expected this to go when Villa popped up between these 2 teams.
Oh boy, oh boy. It was not, I mean, it's not the way that we expected to go with Villa. It's not the way we expected to go with the matchup in general. The map just compounds that. I'm just, you know, honestly, I and a lot of people are very surprised right now by the fact that Luminosity are absolutely trouncing TSM. I mean, there's no way to oh wow, I just had deja vu. Anyway, there's no way to dance around the fact that Luminosity are just... they're in full control of this match right now after a win like that. You know, you might expect this to be a defensive sweep where both teams really excel on holding the bomb sites, but not so after what we just saw. It's going to be a Kitchen defense.
You're putting your map on the line at Kitchen because, well, I mean, if you're TSM, you could have gone back to Trophy, but after that, I don't know if I want to.
I would put that at TSM's feet. I would lay that loss at TSM's feet. So if we were going to take a little bit of analysis here for that last round,
Please do so.
they put 3 people to hold Closet, Bathroom, and Master. And they lost, TSM, lost 3 people holding Closet, Bathroom, and Master. I mean, why? You know? Why an extended hold and Master? That generally doesn't work. That's the sort of thing that pretty easily gets shut down because the attack sets up on the balcony, opens up all the windows, covers all the angles, and then you die while you're trying to run away because you can't apply enough pressure to the balcony because it's too general of a zone to shoot at. There's so much space that the enemy can use. The attackers can position themselves oddly, and then if you peek them, you'll lose the fight because you're just not anticipating him being prone on the corner of the balcony or something along those lines. That's what makes it so hard to challenge that.
I suspect we're about to see a real nasty rush take for the very final round here. Is TSM going to be able to answer it? A Finkel, Lion, and a Blitz on the board. There's a lot of yellow in that Luminosity lineup with an IQ as well. And here we go. Off to the races as they break the door open. Finka boost on in, and Rexon is going to lead the way. The smoke will shut one down. There's Merc. Oh man, TSM, 4 kills, and that gamble from LG does not quite go as according to plan. They knock him down like bowling pins. 40 seconds in, and it's Hyena in a 1v5. And what is he going to do?
Tactical timeout.
He's going to take a tactical timeout, and we're just going to wait for 2 minutes. All right, everybody, yep, it seems to be about right.
We've seen this a lot, especially when you have a rush threat at the beginning of the round and a 1v5, he will not win. There is no scenario in which he wins this. Not really. TSM would have to fumble the ball so hard in order to lose here, and then I don't predict that. So
it'd be like throwing on the goal line instead of rushing. That's a reference you won't get, but there are people in the chat who will get that reference. They'll be very angry. I'll be very angry with that reference, and I am delighted to drop it.
Okay, good. Well, I'm glad people will understand it.
When you're that close to the end zone, you got to run it. You got to run the ball.
Yeah. So Hyena, really smart play here, pausing for his team. After you do a rush strat and it doesn't work so spectacularly, you need to think about what you're going to do in the future.
I mean, you had 2 members of TSM that were lined up watching that door. The moment that went off and you hear the Lion, you got to expect it. And as well, the 6th pick is only going to conceal 1 operator. That's it. You see a Finka or you see a Lion or a Blitz, you see any of those 3 together, you know what's coming. So
what's Pojaman and Bolo doing in that corner?
They're just hanging out. Look at that. Oh God, they're filming it.
Oh, wow.
He's got the cardiac sensor out. Oh, no. That's not okay.
I can see your heartbeat.
No, but seriously, why are you waiting for a weighted blanket?
It doesn't matter. I'll tell you about it later.
I like to discuss such things.
I'll tell you about it later. We still got...
Look at how gorgeous...
We only got 30 seconds left.
Can we see the Italian countryside?
Yeah, can we see the skybox?
I want to see...
Turn around and look at the skybox.
Turn around.
Yeah, look at that.
Look at that. Oh,
it's beautiful.
Would you look at that?
No, I'm not talking about... Not the skylight, the skybox.
Did you look at that?
It's the thing that's outside of the map.
The skybox is the
vineyard.
Sky itself. Yeah, look at that. Would you look at that?
Yeah.
I asked him, would you look at that? I don't think he'd look at that.
We're looking at it, kind of.
So there's no timeout in online games, so you do essentially what Hyena does, which is just wait. 2 minutes for LG to discuss amongst themselves with the now 3 remaining rounds in which they need to get a single victory. That's it. Aviator Games will unlock. Trophy unsuccessful for TSM, but they've now won on Aviator and Kitchen. Aviator will open up again. I suspect that's where they'll go. I am apparently wrong. They're going to go downstairs to living room/library.
They like taking risks. TSM is a risky team.
They've got taking the game risks on the line, and they're going to go
all
to a
the
site
risks.
that we haven't seen yet. That is wild. Wild.
Very wild. I don't know what's going on.
One thing that needs to be addressed, though, to viewers is that the actual site that says 1F living room, 1F library, that is not visible to the opponent. So LG doesn't know where they're going.
I think a lot of people misinterpret that. During the reveal phase, what you see is your operators line up and their operators line up, your enemy. And then after the reveal phase, there is a 6-pick phase where each team can change one of their operators to a different operator, and the enemy team won't know about that change until they spot them in-game with a drone. Nothing else is really revealed. You don't see the utility that is brought in terms of like breaching versus flashes or something along those lines. You don't see barbed wire, blah, blah, blah. You don't see the sights, it's just the operators. And technically, you can only count on having seen 4 of them, and you don't know which 4 because the 6-pick exists. So yeah, that is how that whole thing works. So yeah, I got a living room. Interesting. I am starting to pick up on the whole. I think TSM has said heck it and thrown caution to the wind and are just doing whatever at this point, maybe just playing for the fun of it. Which, to be fair, we've seen teams win like that before, so.
Maybe the real victory were the friends we made along the way.
I would say that is in, like, if we're talking about life, maybe, like that is a value in life for sure.
Just go with it, man.
All right, yeah, that's definitely one of those.
Just go with it, man.
Yeah, okay.
Just go with it.
Luminosity trying to take their way into study again, living room defense. So as long as this is just a delay tactic for TSM, it'll work out well. The Mozzies, oh my gosh, these pests are. This is why they're so popular in competition. He just had to sacrifice a drone, and he wasted time doing it.
Well, he tried to jump to see if it was up, if he could jump over it, because you
never can. Like
if it's down low enough, you might be able to, but I mean, it's, usually it does have a sphere around it. Everything in this game is spheres. It's not flat like the Earth.
Sphere.
So.
Wait. Oh, you just made a. Ha 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 ha.
Anywho.
Rexon absorbs all of those arrows.
All of those. And that's 5 damage. Down goes a frag grenade to collect anything on the other side of the panel, and it'll be opened up. But that's actually crucial. You only get 18 X-Kairos. 3 groups of 6, and one of those groups is now entirely gone. That is not good. That is double plus not good. So, also, reminder, with 1 minute and 20 left on the clock, this is a living room library defense. So Luminosity have now spent over half of the round just taking over that second floor. You've seen that they've lost some utility, some X-Kairos. There goes some of the Skeleton Key. You still have both your breaching rounds left for Rexon. You've lost a couple drones. You've also used your X-Kairos up. I'm assuming that for the most part, Factor's air jabs are out as well.
So it's been a lot of, that utility getting used up by LG, but they've gotten a decent effect out of it. Look at that aggressive play from Merc. If he gets droned, he's a dead man. He won't accomplish anything. But assuming maybe possibly that he doesn't get droned, he could do a lot of work from that position. Well, just have to find out, as I don't actually think they're going to drone him. It's possible that he goes unnoticed.
If Merc gets this opening pick, possibly even 2, this is going to be huge when he gets 1 traded off by Factor, who's at such close range that he's able to fell Merc, but still you lose Slash. Luminosity's taking quite a beating from a number of their operators. 20 seconds left. They have the match on the line here with TSM situated to try and hold off on this on a site that we haven't seen them defend before. Hyena looking to push on in his Factor, attempts to get the plan down, but Pojoman has good coverage for him. Goo Mines will give positions away. 2 kills from LG. The Doc shuts 1 down. Bolo's still inside a vault, and Hyena does not have the speed nor wherewithal into a 1v1, but unfortunately for them, there's still 1 member of TSM that's just out of reach, and Luminosity will still wait for the victory as TSM is beginning to claw their way back into this matchup after falling so far behind.
And they're doing it in the oddest ways, too. That's the crazy thing. TSM is clearly playing with reckless abandon. You could almost hear whoever made the call, maybe it was Pojo, but whoever made the call on TSM, you could hear it. It's like, guys, just do whatever. Just do whatever. Why the heck is Merc crouched in the main hallway outside of the site in a corner?
Who knows?
I mean, he just, sure, he didn't expect anyone to drone him, and he was right. He managed to get a kill out of that. But if someone had, he would have been shut down. So right now, TSM is taking advantage of the lack of thorough droning from Luminosity, and the reason there's a lack of thorough droning is because of things like those pests on the Mozzie, slowing things down, eating up drones. I mean, there's layers to it, too. Just in general, Luminosity tend to take things for granted sometimes when it comes to the clear, especially with the roamers. and they pre-aim and expect things, and they're usually really good at that. But if you're playing like Merc's playing, it's hard to anticipate that. I can almost hear Slash going, why is he playing there? What is he doing there? How did we not drone that? And now you're going to see Luminosity start to slow down with their droning. And since Mozzie's still in play, it's going to be really slow. They're either going to do that, or Luminosity will go for the closest contact attack strategy possible. In this case, would be a study take. And that would avoid roamers altogether. C4s from below is still a thing, but you know what I'm getting at here.
Merc was in what a lot of people refer to as a rat corner. Where you're just playing a tight, dirty angle that nobody expects you to be in, and then you're still there and you get a kill from it, and you're like, oh, man.
Or a dumb spot.
Who plays there? Well, North America loves to call them rat corners.
I've not heard that one, but I believe you. Because so, yeah, no, I believe you.
Well, Michael, you don't watch the SI quals that we did, okay? Because we had many North American pros backing me up on this one, so...
Oh, you mean in the...
The ones that you didn't do, you did one of them.
I did one of them.
Mr. Lonnie Lightning.
It was really fun, yeah. That was a good time.
That was a very good time. Some GTs, as kids would call it. But no, rat corner is the preferred nomenclature.
Okay, so we'll...
Rat corner.
I'll work that into my vernacular. Thank you, Parker.
Because you're a little rat in the corner, hiding in the corner.
Did you just call Merc a rat?
I called the way Merc played a rat.
I'm just messing with you. He probably calls it the same thing.
Mark, for the record, not a rat. If Mark watches this one back, could you please confirm or deny with Kickstart that you indeed would call it a rat corner? Anyway.
No, I believe you. You don't need to confirm or deny. I'm not like the what?
A minute on in, and it is an Aviator Games defense yet again. We have seen through 4 rounds, this now being the 5th. The 4 previous rounds, TSM have taken every single site. Or at least they've played it. They've lost on Trophy Statuary, and if Aviator ends up being a victory for TSM, the 12th round, in which we will set up for a draw, or the potential for a draw, we'll see where TSM goes. Probably to Kitchen, as it will once again reopen. Achieve taking quite a bit of damage. You could hear his pests doing work because they were able to snag a drone. Down below, desperately trying to clear out any of that breach denial is Doodle, waiting to give the call to Slash to open it up. Slash now on hard breach. The man wins every 1vx that he finds himself in, and there you go. Oh, what a C4! And now Slash will have to use another set of X-Kairos. Is there going to be another C4 to take care of it? The answer is no, and it gets opened up. A clear line of sight to Bar, but nobody's watching the door. Achieve swings into study with 50 seconds left. He takes Slash down, and also Diffuser falling.
Attackers have recovered their diffuser.
This is going to be a tense moment with the final 40 seconds. Match on the line for LG. They haven't been able to find much over the last couple rounds as TSM has dominated on both sides of this map. Struggling from LG to be able to get on in. There's a Yokai drone that has gone unspotted at the top of the stairs, and Bolo will be giving calls to the rest of his team. Geo pushes up, doesn't see anybody. He's got Achieve nearby. Toxic Canister goes out. 2 members of LG in Classical Hall. They'll find Pojo Man, who pushes on in. But everybody's getting in on the action. 5 kills will dominate the scoreboard. Rexon on a fraction of HP in a 1v3. He knows he's got one by the wall, but he is a single bullet away from death. On top of the billiards table, he gets one. 5 seconds left. He finds himself in the cross of Bolo, trying to withstand, but it's Bolo. Jason Doty, they call him that. Not just a content creator, also, he's a fragger, and he'll frag well. We'll go to our 12th and final round. The lead that LG had built up all but evaporated now, as it is 6-5.
TSM wants to remain undefeated. They are going for the draw here. And, it's a little bit late for the win, but even if TSM only gets a draw out of this, I believe they will retain first spot in North America at the end of the day. Let me take a look at those leaderboards real quick to assess that. Yes, indeed, because they will have the round differential, I believe, over Dark Zero, and both teams will have 10 points. We'll have to double check that at the end of this match, but I'm pretty sure they'll still retain round differential advantage, considering how Dark Zero has been winning most of their matches throughout this season, and by that I mean just barely. Well, we'll find out when we get there, and it's been calculated. What we do know is that TSM will keep themselves in the lead of North America and head of the pack, whether it's first or second, if they draw this. And, well, I mean, it all comes down to this, Kitchen defense. Very last round. Honestly surprising that we've seen it play out the way it has. Definitely favored towards the defense. Neither of these teams managing to leverage more than 1 attacking round per throughout this match. 2 attacking rounds total, of course.
Vintage Villa.
It is Vintage Villa, yeah, so to speak. facilitated by the man face.
You say so to speak. How else would you say it?
Old Villa, OG Villa,
Retro Villa.
Retro Villa,
Throwback Villa.
way back when Villa.
Way back Wednesday, Throwback Thursday, Far Back Friday.
Yes. I mean, we could just keep going. But yeah, it's an old style of Villa play that we're seeing here right now. The main thing, though, is the old style of Villa play is it's not the exact same thing, because back then we had a lot of hard destruction coming out.
Yes.
And it was a really important part of the attacks. Here, there's some Habana holes getting opened, and they are crucial, but they are not the determining factor in the majority of these rounds.
Both of these teams could maybe learn a thing or two from what we saw of Liquid on Villa.
Yeah,
they were playing without a hard breacher and absolutely pummeling MIBR.
didn't even care. Like, they dropped like 2 rounds in that match. Maybe it was a 7-2, I think, or something.
That is correct. They did well on defense, but it was the attack where MIBR, having Villa defense obviously be the preferred way to play this map.
Yeah. We saw MIBR get 2 defensive rounds, and then that's it.
Yeah, and Team Liquid won Kitchen, Library, and 2 Aviator takes without a hard breacher. That is almost unheard of.
Liquid just was like, oh, we're going to push in. And again, that's on the same map with different bands, mind you. It was a Thatcher Maverick, if I'm not mistaken. But no matter what, it was a really interesting match. And now, in this one, we're going to have, again, the last round, last 1 minute, 45 seconds. LG have taken a good chunk of top 4 control, and they're going to start pressuring from above. This could be an easy kill for the IQ if he times it right. He doesn't want to jump the gun. If he warns Pojo that there's an IQ in play, Pojo will just stop using the heartbeat sensor. And there's the warning. And only 1 shot hit. No headshot.
It's enough to shake the pulse off of its location. It looks like a C4 has maybe been tossed up, ready and waiting. There Geo goes. Does he get detected? No. Pull the trigger!
Bad timing.
Just narrowly misses it. That hesitation will cost him as Doodle takes some damage, but not that much. Roughly about the same that Pojo took earlier on. So, with a minute left, a showdown between these two teams, and you can hear Factor still trying to pick away at Pojo's pulse. Nothing yet. Maybe draw one out. Who knows? Still back at it. Factor will go.
The vertical control has not gained an advantage, or at least not a significant one, for LG thus far. And when we get to the last actual few seconds of the round and the sight take starts to come out, then there might not be much of a presence upstairs from LG.
They managed to take all the bandit batteries off, so now Slash can do his job very effectively, as you still see some smashing action from Doodle above, as he's going to watch a myriad of holes. There goes the top of one of the reinforcements, and
oh, that's a good angle from Rexon.
That's a great angle from Rexon, and the angle will get even better. Some negligence in terms of the reinforcements that have gone down. 15 seconds left. Open pick is going to go to Geo. Now the action. The cut and thrust. 3 kills for TSM. Rexon frags out onto Geo. It's a 3v2, but how far off are you? Factor's going to need to go into plant. They're going to have to go for frags. TSM just needs a second or more. Factor's not going to be able to find 3 of them. Not at all. TSM stitches together an impressive second half. Just as good as LG, and that lead that LG had is now entirely gone. 1 point for each. Vintage Villa, let's call it.
Big win there for TSM, I gotta say. I know it's a draw, but that was a TSM win because they managed